Hello, everybody, and welcome to one of my other classes. Hello to Anderson, hello to Jackson, hello to Annie, hello to Daniela, hello to Julia, and to the other students that I have in the school. Okay, these classes were meant to all of you. Okay, now today I want to talk about an interesting subject, which is called verbs are easy. Now, this is my point of view on how to use the verbs in English. I would like you to understand my point of view that is verbs in English are not so difficult like you think. Maybe you can have some difficulties on pronunciation, but it's not exactly as difficult as you think. Now, first of all, I always suggest you to have a look at the vocabulary. For example, these pages here, 132, 133, and 126. Now, these pages are on the book New English File, 3rd edition, beginner. I strongly suggest you to stop and wait for, and for 10 minutes, read this, and, try to memorize these verbs. This is a lot of good vocabulary, and remember that vocabulary, it's extremely important, like in the class about word order, to know, to study, to memorize, because it's the base of the communication. If you go to a place and you say bathroom, even if you don't know the sentence, a person that is a foreigner, a gringo, understands that you look for the bathroom. So vocabulary is extremely important. So take 10 minutes, memorize these verbs. You might gonna need it, especially the ones who are on the left. Okay, and let's go. Now, first page of our class. What's the difference? Now, see, here we have two different columns. The one on the left is obviously in Portuguese, and the one on the right is obviously in English. Now, what is exactly the difference here? Take a minute to understand. Think about an answer, and then press pause. After 1 minute or two, or if you want 5 minutes, it's not a problem for me. Tell me the answer. Okay? Ready? Okay. Have you thought about the answer? I'm going to tell you mine. The difference between these two columns is that the first, this one over here, it's hard. And this, it's absolutely easy. You say, what? Well, think about it. This is Portuguese, okay? Look at that. Eu tenho, tu tens, ele tem, nós temos, vós tendes, eles têm. I mean, this is completely different. Like each word is different. I mean, vós tendes. I never heard vós tendes here in Brazil. Never. I've been here for 6 years. I came here in March 2013, 7 years almost. No, more than 7 years. Never heard this in anywhere. And you see, each tense is different. Now look here in English. I have, you have, he, she, it has, we have, you have, they have. I mean, what is so difficult about it? This is exactly the same, but in English. I mean, damn. The next person who tells me that English is difficult, he or she has to give me a proper explanation of what the difficulties are. So guys, today we're going to talk about that. To learn the verbs in English, it's absolutely easy. You just have to keep in mind that the verbs in English never changes between personal pronouns. I mean, never not, but 90% it doesn't. Like you see here, it has. It's the only one who is different between the others. Let's move forward. Now, look at that. Now here we have the verb wash. Okay, wash the dishes, what nobody likes to do. I love cooking, but I really hate washing the dishes. Now here we have some different tenses, okay? Now, the first one, facts and opinion. We talk about the present simple. Now, the present simple, it's of course simple. The verb, it's pure. Okay, there is a difference on the third person singular that he washes. Okay, but like all the verbs in the present simple, sorry, are absolutely and absurdly easy to understand because you just need to know the verb itself. Now the verb wash, I wash, you wash, he, she, it washes. I mean, just put es at the end. We wash, they wash. I mean, like it's extremely easy. So anytime you want to talk about a fact and opinion, like I like pizza, the verbs goes in definitive. Oh, I study at UFPB. I study, don't say I'm studying. Um, People in Brazil eat churrasco every weekend. I mean, I just have to use the verb in the infinitive. It's a fact, so super simple, okay? This was the present simple. Now let's go to the past simple, which talks about past events. Now the past simple is also simple. You see the verb wash? You don't have to modify the verb. There is no necessity to modify the verb. The verb is the same. The root is wash. You just have to add ed at the end. Look here. And we did the past. I washed, you washed, he, she, it washed. We washed, you washed, they washed. I mean, if you want to make the past, you just have to put ed at the end of the verb. Of course, there are exceptions, like some rules, like with when the verb ends with y or with ie, you have to. But this is something that, you know, it's more writing than speaking. You know, if the verb is regular and you want to use the past, you just have to use the sound ed at the end. Super simple. I talk every day. I talked yesterday. Yes, I use a T sound. We're going to see the class about simple past, why the sound is different. I walk in the park in the afternoon with my dog. I walked in the park yesterday afternoon with my dog. Super simple. I study at UFBB. I studied at UFBB yesterday. I mean, it's quite simple. Next one. You are washing the dishes. In motion, present continuous. You see, the verbs stays the same. You are washing the dishes. Sorry, I need to pause. You are washing the dishes. Present continuous. Okay. We're talking about emotion. Now see, again, the verb is the same. Okay, wash. You just have to use the verb to be and ing. I mean, the verb is always the same. I mean, it doesn't change. You see, like before, the verb doesn't change. So, and there are different verbs. See, present simple, simple past, present continuous. The verb is the same. You just put ing and use the verb to be. And this applies to all the verbs. Super simple. So present continuous, like that. Past motion, so the present continuous in the past, also called past continuous. Look here, you were washing. I just changed the verb to be from the simple present to the simple past, and then I put ing at the end of the verb. Super simple. And now let's go with the future. How can I make the future with the verbs? Super simple. Will. Okay, that is also going to understand that. But again, the verb doesn't change. You just have to use will before it. You will wash the dishes. I will go to the beach. I will eat pizza tonight. I mean, super simple. If it were in Portuguese, eu lavarei, você lavará, eles lavarão. I don't know Portuguese. I'm gringo. But it's super, super, super simple. And that's it. See? With like, you know, if you can memorize these 5 verbs, you're gonna speak 70% of English. You know how to say a fact and opinion. You know how to talk about a past event. You know how to talk something in motion. You know how to use something in the past motion. I mean, you know how to talk about an event in the past. And you have the future. What else do you need to speak in English? Basically, you need nothing else. If you know this, You know how to communicate. And see, you just need to know the verbs. So it's vocabulary. So if you go back to the pages, you have a lot of verbs, and you can use the same verb for a fact, for a past event, for something in motion, something in the past motion, and the future. Super simple. Let's have a closer look. In English, 90% of the verbs are the same for all the pronouns. Look here. This is like I applied everything in the past, okay? I talked to my best friend. You talked to my best friend. Mauricio talked to my best friend. See? We have different subjects, but the verb is the same. Fernanda talked to my best friend. The dog talked to my best friend. We talked to my best friend. You and your dog talked to my best friend. Yes, it's quite strange that a dog talks, but they talked to my best friend. See, the verb never changes with different subjects. It's the same. You can put 10 people has a subject in a sentence, but the verb will always talk. Talked, of course. And now that you know how to make the verbs, what is very important also is to connect more sentences. Let's go talking about connecting, okay? Now, if you remember the class about connectors, you know that when you have two sentences, you have to find a way to connect them, right? Look here. I'm going to the pharmacy. Now, this is the present continuous, right? Imagine that you're on the street and you're going to the pharmacy. So this is a sentence with the present continuous. And then I want to use a sentence with a simple past. Let's use a connector. I'm going to the pharmacy because my husband had an headache. Other example. Joe Anderson ate so much pizza. Look, a sentence in the simple past. You know how to make the simple past. Now, this is the irregular verb of the verb eat. You have it on the book, okay, if you watch the vocabulary. Sorry, if you read the vocabulary. Joe Anderson ate so much pizza. Consequently, he is drinking some sodium bicarbonate. See, sentence in the simple past, sentence in the present continuous, and then use a connector to connect everything. It's like a glue. So by the moment you know the vocabulary, you know what you want to say, you just need a word to connect the sentences. See? Super simple. Other example. The teacher will play video games until late night. Okay, this is the future. So, connector of consequence. He will be sleepy tomorrow. See, now connect two sentences. Of course, both of them use the future, and I connect them with one word. So see, if you know the vocabulary, if you know how to use the verb tenses, and you know how to use the connector, you will start speaking English super fast. It's so simple. It's the same idea. Remember the class about the word order? I, Joe Anderson, the teacher, subject. Going to, ate, will play, verb. Pharmacy, much pizza, video games, object. So see, we're following the same idea of the word order. So that's it. If you have doubts about connectors and word order word order sentences, have a look at the class again. Okay? And now let's do an activity. The activities are together with a video in Google Docs. You can make some quizzes, and you can also, you do some quizzes, and you can also do some other exercises, okay? So if you have doubts, please talk to me. It's not a problem. You can enter in contact with my WhatsApp, okay, or Instagram, or you can write down here in the video. And thank you for watching the class again. Thank you for supporting the school, and see you next time, okay? Bye, dudes.